वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम. Yes, can someone recollect what is it? Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? Yes, please.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ganesh. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So yesterday, Shri Krishna said that person who has managed to get out of flux of emotions and achieve the yoga, he will be able to experience the pure joy and the inner calmness or peace, and he will be able to see the glimpses of how divine arrangement or working is. The samatha bhav is very important because once if you deviate from that, you are actually going away from the actual path, and one who is actually able to see divine in everything and everywhere. For such person, Shri Krishna says, I am never lost, and such person is never lost to me as well. Uh, and such person who is actually balanced, calm, and continuously engaging in yoga and practicing yoga. Basically, such person is the one greatest one. Is what Shri Krishna said. For me, he is the best one. Is what Shri Krishna has said. uh, Arjuna had raised question that even whatever you're talking about yoga and samatha bhav, I'm still not able to understand. My mind is still deviating. And Sri Krishna had acknowledged that yes, it is difficult to tame your mind, and but with practice and detachment, this can be done. And there is no human being which is actually useless. It is like the ability of transformation, that is what needs to be worked upon, and that is what helps you to progress on the path. Uh, then Arjuna had question about what happens to a person who starts following this path but doesn't reach the destination. So he tries to go away from the attachments and desires, but he is not completely go away and achieve the consciousness. So what happens to such person? Isn't he going to be halfway through, but not neither here not there? So what happens to such person was the question that Arjuna had posed at the end.
Absolutely, Chetanji. Thank you very much for a beautiful summary. So, yes, that exalted one who reaches the highest state of yoga, we all know that is a special experience. We all want to be free from suffering in our life. We want to be free from insecurities of attachments, all of it. That's the ideal, isn't it? But the practical is sometimes far away from the ideal, and practical does not manifest the ideal completely. So, there are many who walk on the path who walk on the path, who go ahead as they as they move ahead. Sometimes they don't have that intensity, or sometimes they walk ahead and then lose their way because human nature, isn't it? Everywhere we have ahankar, we have attachments. Even sometimes, what's the difference between a yogi and bhogi? It's the attachment only, isn't it? And attachments are sometimes very sukshma. Sometimes they're direct, physical, emotional, and mental also. So these are what we call thought blocks. The best of the best writers get a thought block sometimes, isn't it? What happens there? Then the words don't flow, even if the writer is really good. So something like that happens. And Arjuna is a little worried. Krishna is now inviting Arjuna to walk on the spiritual path. And he says, no, Krishna, your dhyana techniques are not working. Krishna, your advice is not working. I am still feeling restless. What example are you giving of a yogi being like a flame in a windless place? My mind is only the wind. It cannot be controlled. How? How will I ever do it? Krishna gives a very simple and straightforward answer. And it's also very loving. It's not like he's insulted. Normally, if you spend some time to talk to your friend and you give some advice, say 20 minutes, and at the end of the advice, he says, what you talked was absolutely useless for me, or I don't understand anything. You get irritated. But no, not Krishna. He's very quiet. He says, yes, I understand that this mana is chanchala, but the mind can be trained. There are two ways. One is abhyasa, another is vairagya. We will later on come, as we study the Gita, we'll look at the example of a man with his, Abhyas, with his efforts, with his dedication, with his sincerity, he broke down a mountain. That too not with his drilling tools or anything, with hand tools. Well, that is the power of human being. There's a beautiful quote attributed to Swami Vivekananda. It's about how you can move mountains, you can drain oceans. Faith, faith, faith in thee, faith, faith, faith in God. You need to at least have faith in yourself also. That Shraddha is required to go on the path ahead. But then when doubt comes, Shraddha cannot exist, isn't it? So Arjuna is saying, Krishna, I have Shraddha in you, but I still have doubts. And he says, you alone can dispel. That is one more indication of Arjuna is sure that yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But Krishna, you alone can take me there. You alone can solve my doubts. And he says with a sort of a dadagiri, he says, every little doubt of mine, you have to clear. And then he puts this doubt of yoga bhrashta. What happens to that person who is walked on the path, who is gone ahead on the path of yoga and is not able to maintain? So one side, you've already left this kind of world of attachments, and suddenly you are now seeking a spiritual path, and there you are now having desires. But this is the world you have left. You cannot be there also now. You are not here also. Na ghar ka na ghat ka, somewhere in between, Trishanku. Will such a person not perish? Will it not be a waste? So this question, I just want to ask everybody if this is a very relevant question or this is a question that comes to our hearts also. What happens? What happens afterwards? I am walking on this path with all sincerity. But who knows, something happens, something changes, and I'm not able to go ahead. Will I not suffer the horrible consequences? Yes, anybody. Arjuna's question, is it logical? You can just have your views with that quickly. Go ahead. Yes, please. Anybody?
Yes, it's relevant. I think it's as we I think we had discussed last time that we don't know how the exactly destination is because we are yet to reach there, and we have started moving away from our original or what we say attachment life. So yeah, I mean it is very much relevant that we may not get there, and we may be stuck between. So yeah, I think the
Hmm.
question is very relevant.
Yes, yes. All right, Chaitanya ji. Anybody agrees with what Chaitanya ji says? And we can then move ahead. Yes?
Yes.
All right, all right. Let us see. Let us see what Krishna answers. Because we have to take the leap of faith. Yes, fine. But then where are we landing? Where are we landing when we take that leap of faith? That is the big question Arjuna is having. But generally, when Shraddha is there, there are no doubts, there are no questions. So we can say Arjuna's Shraddha is not fully completed. Means when he said, I'm surrendering, he's not completely surrendered, where he's saying, yeah, Krishna is ordering and he's immediately listening everything. No, he's still having his doubts, his rational logics, and his questions also. As far as this question of what happens on the spiritual path, Krishna answers. Let us see his answer. Shri, yes, sir, Pratik ji.
Sorry, Hari Om. What would be the difference between, say, blind faith and Shraddha?
Blind faith and Shraddha. Shraddha is a, what we can say, full understanding, which a realization that has come. A lady tells me she is my mother and she gives me a birth certificate and she says, yes, see, I have your certificate and here's a DNA certificate also. I will not believe that because my Shraddha is in my mother who has raised me and this is my realization. She may be by birth my mother, but this is the mother that I have experienced and I have understood. My heart knows that this is the mother. Tomorrow, if another person comes and tells me also, this realization will not change. I may call her also with respect, mother, after getting understanding this. But the mother that I see, the mother that I experience, that is clear. And that is not blind faith, isn't it? It is something which is experiential. And then there is no doubt. Means even if the entire world is going to tell me, no, this is not. This is for me, this is the truth. So Shraddha is grounded in truth. And where there is truth, there is no blindness, there is no ignorance. There's no Andha Shraddha. Shraddha cannot be Andha. It is nature, mind, preferences, and I don't like doing this, and so I will follow a particular ritual, not doing it. That becomes a Andhashraddha. But when you become conscious, then yes, tomorrow if everybody says, no, doing Agnihotra is wrong, stop doing Agnihotra. Why will be the question. Why Shraddha is there? As I watched the Agni, I have experienced the fire rising. I have experienced the connect between the fire inside of me and the fire there. I've experienced the purification of thoughts, purification of atmosphere as I put in the Ahuti. So here it is, Shraddha is actually based on truth and it's based on knowledge and consciousness and understanding. Shraddha is actually a state of mind which is interfering with what is Shraddha. Means the work is started, but somewhere it is got an interference.
Got it.
All right. Yes, fine.
Thank you.
Hari Om. So
Hari Om.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. पार्थ नैवेह नामुत्र विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते नहि कल्याणकृत कश्चित् दुर्गतिम तात गच्छति. Sri Krishna spoke, "Oh Arjuna, know this, there is no destruction, neither in this life or the next, for there is no regression. For him who selflessly works for the greater good, no ultimate harm can befall him. May this be understood." So on the spiritual path, Krishna is saying there is no such thing as regression. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram says that on the spiritual path, nothing is certain but the certitude of victory. And what is happening is birth after birth, we are like in a relay race. What are we doing? We are passing on the baton. To whom? We are passing it on to ourselves only. One stage we are going ahead. Krishna is saying it is a journey which is going ahead. Of course, in many Puranic tales, for a matter of lessons, they have told that this birth, this person was a human, next birth he became an animal, all of that. But according to the Gita, it is showing that regression is not taking place. There's only an evolution of consciousness. So this is one thing which is very interesting. This gave me a lot of satisfaction that, chalo, I will not become a pig next birth because my grandmother told me, you were yawning while eating, so you are going to become pig. And I did it so many times that I thought, oh no, I have done so many such karmas that are now qualifying me to become a pig. But no, it's not the case at all like that. There is an evolution. The Jivatman is gathering experiences consciously with the purpose, a grand design is there, and it is moving ahead. No regression. So the question of yoga, Bhrashta Arjuna need not worry about it. I have started off something and I have stopped. That does not mean I will regress. Where I have stopped, I will stop there. I'll have to restart from the place I stopped. It's like checkpoint saved in your game. You don't have to again restart from level 0. Let us see what he says further. He says, Prapya punya kritam lokan anushitva shashvati hi samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashto vijayate. So the one who on the path of yoga falters attains the realms of the pious sentient beings, and after dwelling there for many years, is once more born in the household of pure beings. Is interesting. The one who has walked on the path of yoga, because he has begun walking on the path of yoga, Krishna is saying, such a person, he has attained a particular consciousness, so that consciousness is not fully lost. There are lokas, there are realms of existences, they call Chandra Loka, Brahma Loka, something like that. So the one who is having some what we call punyai, who has collected some goodwill, or like we can say in an imaginary bank account. Say, assume all of you have some money which you are depositing in the bank account. What happens when you stop depositing? Does it deteriorate? What is there is going to be there, isn't it? So what you will do is you will exhaust, you will spend what was there, you have spent, you've gone on a trip somewhere, and then that is emptied, and then you again restart the process. But if you have, it will not reduce just by virtue of being not addition is not taking place. So the one who has walked on the path, he's got some understanding. That realization remains, that remains on the inside. And the person goes ahead is what Krishna is saying. We will look a little bit later in 8th Adhyaya about these realms. Yogis are more conscious, so they can understand the existences which are even beyond what we can understand as the Prithvi Loka or Bhuloka also. But here, let us assume he's going there, experiencing some of the further what good he has done. He's experiencing that, and probably coming back into what? A household of pure beings. Meaning in in an atmosphere, such a person is born in an atmosphere there where it is very conducive for this person to continue the path which was stopped in the previous birth. His sadhana is not ended, it continues. So no regression is what Krishna has clearly told. He goes on further. अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरम लोके जन्म यदीदृशम. Or he may be born in a yogi's house and to the family of the pious and the wise. For it is a privilege so very rare to be born in a household with a spiritual air. Krishna says this is a very durlabha yoga. It is a very rare occurrence where a person is born in an atmosphere where it is spiritual in the house. Don't you agree? It's very rare to get a completely spiritual atmosphere, isn't it? Anybody? Yes? Anyone?
Agreed. I
Um,
think. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Karthik ji, go
I
ahead.
think Chaitanya ji started and then I'll go to Karthik ji. So
Okay.
yeah.
I think it is. I mean, now we are talking about it and realizing it is one part, but there is. I mean, it is very difficult to have that guarantee that next time when you're born, people
Hmm.
around you will be believing in the same thing, or they will be, helping or supporting you in this part or teaching you on this path. So that is something I think if you're born in Yogi's house, I think by default you are having that advantage of learning from
Atmosphere.
someone. Yeah,
It's like
atmosphere is already there.
atmosphere. Like in a nursery, if a rose is growing in a nursery, it will
Correct.
grow very easily, isn't it? Otherwise, we
Correct.
see roses and we say, Chalo, I want this rose in my house. We come and buy it. It looks beautiful for 5 days or 6 days. And there is no more rose again at our home because somehow we don't know how to give the right atmosphere. So that is one thing. And it's sometimes very rare in the household where sometimes parents also are on the Adhyatmic Marga, child is just, it's like creating that atmosphere where this person has to just go ahead. So, all right, Karthik ji was saying something or asking something. Yes, sir.
no, I hadn't understood that particular para, so now I understand.
Okay, fine, sir, fine. All right.
Thank
So
you.
this is the thing. This is the thing. Because imagine if I'm born in a terrorist house, what will I do? What will be the sanskara? Huh? It's no fault of mine, isn't it? It's no fault of mine. Children are born in different households. Sometimes, no matter what philosophy are you going to talk about, when my entire philosophy is about how will I get food on the table? Where will I get chance to study Shastra when I've never heard of something called Shastra at all? Or where will I chance to think about something higher when that opportunity has not come? So this is one aspect which is true in life, where everybody has a different atmosphere right when they are born. So these are very lucky. So the ones who are born must, if they are able to understand that, if they are able to become conscious of it, they can take they can take the greatest advantage of it because it's a very rare privilege. It's a privilege to be born. Nowadays, even in a functional family where there is a cordial atmosphere, that itself is a great privilege. So what are we going to do? Are we going to waste the privilege that we have, or we're going to take advantage of the privilege? So that is one thing. But what about those who are not privileged? Well, it does not mean roses only grow in the nursery, isn't it? So the atmosphere is difficult, but yes, roses grow in a difficult atmosphere also, and these roses are sometimes sturdier than the rose that has grown in the nursery. So the aspiration of the soul can be anywhere, any place, anytime. But we are looking at the journey of a yogi in terms of yoga practice. He has gone ahead, he has taken pains, he's taken efforts in his life, and still not able to reach that culmination of what moksha or realization is. What happens to him? Well, he has gone ahead, but that journey is incomplete. There's a hiatus, so he's again going to restart it, and he may be lucky. He may be lucky in getting an atmosphere which will allow him to resume. So it's more of an individual aspect which we are slowly, consciously evolving. Don't we recollect Krishna telling Arjuna the difference between Arjuna and Krishna? Anybody? In that shloka where he talked about Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku. Krishna just said one small difference between Arjuna and Krishna. Anybody? I couldn't hear you, Manisha ji. There's something audio lag.
Hari Om?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yes, he said I remember my past. I remember many births I have seen, so I remember them all, and you don't remember them. That's the only difference.
Yes, yes. So Arjuna is also being told by Krishna, see, Krishna, the Krishna that you see is also a product of multiple births of evolution. And see, Krishna has come before you. The difference, Arjuna, is that you don't know that you too have come this way. So many births. It's not just a one-time thing which you are feeling, YOLO. In this birth, you live once. The youngsters always call that concept. You only live once, YOLO concept. Well, yeah, this birth we are going to be, but our birth is a continuation of consciousness, a journey which is taking place consciously as part of some grand plan. Call it a grand game, whatever we want to call it. Leela is the game. We want to say it's just illusion. You are saying you are trapped in Maya. But whatever it is happening. And Krishna says this, I am aware and conscious. So a person who is born in that home, I think there's nothing more difficult for that person. He's already got a ground ready. So what should he do? He should take advantage of that ground to move ahead. That's why sometimes we have great yogis born in the Rajgharanas also. Has anybody heard of stories of this? Kings suddenly becoming, giving up all of this. And people say, what is this? What is the logic? My friend was just talking about another person in his community. He's from the Jain community. This young man was all partying and extremely rich. But we can say always alcohol, tattoo, everything. That was something. I do not know about alcohol, but especially parties and going with DJs everywhere. That type of life. And suddenly, all of a sudden, he got a strong realization like how Buddha got. And this extremely cool young man, very broad shoulders, very good following of people, suddenly he takes up a different path. Everybody's shocked, everybody's surprised. They say this is a fad which will not work after some time. But no, he has become one of the most austere of monks, shaving his, tonsurating his head, and he's going around the just preaching good for the world. So this is something which he said was a soul's calling. That particular time he had realized it. Now, does that mean everybody has to go? No. Krishna has given everybody a kshetra and everybody has a karma, a place to work, and but that was the soul's calling which he realized. So it's something like maybe a journey is incomplete for that individual. Just like everybody is free to choose their path, he chose that path. So this aspect Krishna is talking about, that person may be born in such a home. Many parents wonder what will happen. My child is not walking on the spiritual path. Question is, are we laying the path for the child or the path is already laid? It's already there, isn't it? We are not. We are just probably what we can do is create sanskara, you give something, but ultimately it is a journey. The child has to choose his own path. Nobody can keep blaming parents for something. Parents didn't give me this, so I am like this. No, it's not that. The journey you have to take, you have to sometimes forge your way. But this is a very durlabh and rare experience if you have an atmosphere which is conducive. He goes on, Krishna says, Tatratam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam yadate cha tato bhuyaha sansiddhau guru nandana. And there, what happens then? In that household. And there he slowly assumes his previous birth status and resumes his yoga after an outer worldly hiatus. And his works gradually evolve towards perfection. Oh Arjuna, in yoga, there is only ascension. So the question of yoga brashta, Arjuna, don't worry, keep that aside. There is nothing like that, no regression. On the path of yoga, there is only ascension. You are going to move ahead only. So this soul who is born again in that atmosphere, after a short journey, is going to resume his yoga marga, and his works will gradually, evolve towards perfection. Sometimes we get very surprised, isn't it? And especially in the reality shows when we see small children singing songs with such talent, such we say raw talent. How did this child, this person is no. Many judges say no, this was the Gandharva who has come again. This person has done a lot of sadhana. Sometimes the judges say, I have taken so many years to reach this state, and this boy who is This boy or girl who has not reached puberty is singing the song of a lover who has lost or who's heartbroken. Where is the child experienced all of it? Where has the depth come in, or where are the number of hours in this birth that the child has put in? But suddenly it is something, so it's something connected. They say it's connected with some other birth. Or Lata Mangeshkar was said to be Ma Saraswati's incarnation, isn't it? Her voice was so beautiful, and it was ever forever like that. It was that, and it was her entire sadhana, and it was like she was meant to do that, and she realized that, and she went on ahead. This is the same thing that happens. Krishna says the yogi recognizes, the yogi moves ahead. Maharshi Arvind, he was born for this, for his task, what he was supposed to do. Actually, his father did not want him to do anything with India, so he sent him to UK. So that no sanskar has come. Let him get introduced to the other philosophies. What is Greek, what is Latin, all of it. But our boss he was connected with the same aspiration. So there he got connection. He's like, Indra Deva and this Zeus, I can see similarities. And then the turns already, right from childhood, he was exceptional in the sense it was even in his English, even now people find it difficult to understand. During his court case, that famous Alipur case, it was told, I think, the world will take 200 years to recognize Sri Aurobindo. I was writing it today also, if you open it, a lot of people, great Sanskrit scholars also have. One person I know, he laughed and said, understanding Sri Aurobindo is difficult. This person has got PhD and gold medal, and yet he's not able to fully understand the depth of the words which were written so many years ago, almost 100 years ago. How? Well, this connection is there. So we also, the Upanishad also tells us to remember. We have got Vismruti, we have forgotten. Like Hanuman had forgotten, he could take that great leap. Somebody had to tell him. Like that, the Upanishad also says, Kruto smara kritam smara. Remember the great deeds that you have done, the great deeds of the past, the great deeds that you have. Sometimes we don't need to wait for somebody. Oh no, some elder must come and tell me. Some elder must whisper in my ears that I am capable. I have this. No, it's not required. You can yourself remember and move ahead. But this is what happens. So there is no failure. No yoga bhrashta is what Krishna has told. That way. Krishna goes on, Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate yavashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate. By virtue of previous birth, his yoga is carried forward and the soul is towards the science of union allured. And beyond the ritualistic practice, the seeker then ascends and the principles of Vedas and Upanishads, he verily transcends. Such a yogi, by virtue of the Purvabhyasa. The Purvabhyasa is something which is done previously because of it. Like if you learn to cycle and then for many days you don't cycle, but when you get a cycle again, you remember how to cycle, isn't it? Or do you say, I forgot, I have not cycled in so many days? Body also has a memory. Players, after so many days, they enter into the field, or if they're, onto the court, what happens then? The body starts moving. Same with the dancers also. It starts moving with the rhythm, which, because of so many years of practice, it has got ingrained into the consciousness. They call it cell memory. That cell memory suddenly awakens and that person goes on. It's like what it happens. It's like almost automatic. Well, this is the case of that seeker also. By the Purva Abhyasa of a previous birth also, he is suddenly going to understand and he is going to take forward his yoga. And by nature, he is attracted. Hiranyakashipu did not want his son to be connected with the divine, isn't it? He kept establishing that no, there is no divine. But this young boy was just, no, there is. I know. No matter what you tell me. He is there. He is there. Where is he? Then it had gone to a point where he had done a lot of wrong deeds. And so ultimately from the pillar we had to see. We had to see Narayana coming out. Well, this aspect, the science, it is like it attracts the yogi and the yogi is also going on that path only. Automatically he gets allured onto that path and then he transcends even the rules. We're not saying these rituals are waste or anything of that sort. A lot of Vaishnava interpretations try to dismiss the scriptures or the shastras. Krishna is not doing that. Many places he actually says, let the scriptures be your guide. Tasmat shastra pramanam te. Let the shastra be your praman. But here Krishna says that person transcends. Many yogis, or in our country, we are the very rich country in terms of spiritual wealth. Go to any village in any corner of the country, somewhere a spiritual person will be there. And now I'm now in Pondicherry, on the outskirts of Pondicherry is a village. I had no idea. Then there was a name of a village, its name is Sannyasi Kupam. So I was very surprised. Acha. So is there some samadhi? And I found out so many samadhis are there around of so many people. So many Siddha yogis. They are called Siddhars in Tamil. Different places you will see their samadhis. In the smallest of smallest, there's a Grama Devata, there's a Kula Devata, there are different places, so many Devats are there. And they are all, some of these saints did not have access to the Vedas and the Upanishads by virtue of the atmosphere they were in. Yet, their words spoke what is there in the Vedas, what is there in the Upanishads. This was the realization of the Shishyas. Afterwards, some of the learned Shishyas, sometimes, people come from far off to learn about a particular Grama Devata. People in the Grama only don't know about that Devata. But this person with a PhD from abroad comes, I want to study, and then this person draws correlations between what is there in the Vedas and what is there spoken by this person, who in his lifetime had not learned the Vedas. But his words spoke the same consciousness and truth that was present in the Vedas. People are surprised. How? What? This is breaking logic. Well, everything doesn't function according to logic, isn't it? If you see Sant Tukaram's story, what was it? All his words, he is doing what we can say, a type of blasphemy by speaking without having authorization to speak about it, was what was told by the Shastris. And Shastri Goa declared, let all his books be thrown into the river. Let all his writings be thrown, and henceforth he is forbidden from speaking a word of the divine, because this person has no authorization. And what happened afterwards? The entire village experienced that the river pushed back all the book, all the writing. And everybody called it a miracle. And then he again went on, this is Panduranga's wish. He was connected with the divine. So he went on to say, Vedanza to artha amhasisa thava, hiranni vahava bharamata. I know the meaning of the Vedas, I can claim. Let the others carry the weight of those books like a porter carries on the head. Give them their share. Give them their share. Give the porter the wage. Like that you are giving this, is what Tukaram talked about. And his words about consciousness were subtle than the subtler than the subtlest, and wider than the widest is what the Brahman is called. How do you understand it? Sometimes one line of Tukaram makes it very simple. Anu Reniya Thokada Tuka Akasha Yevoda. Smaller than Anu. Anu is atom. According to science, atoms were known very later only, isn't it? On later stage. But Tuka is saying, or whenever he says, he used to say Tuka Mane. Tuka says in a simple language. So, smaller than Anu, smaller than Renu. So they knew something about smaller than the Anu is Renu, a particle which is said to be subatomic. At a time when atom was not yet discovered by what we can say Bohr or the other scientists. At that time, he says he's smaller than the Anu, smaller than the Renu, and he's wider than the skies. Wide? How can something that is small be wide? But that way, how can an atom, which is the smallest indivisible particle, then be divided into subatomic particles? When something is small and finite and it is very small, you have identified this is fundamental. It should not have something which is smaller than what it is already. But no, they say there is atom, then there's electron, proton, neutron. You go further inside, you have further, these gluons are holding together these forces. So this, what is inside, you start going deeper, then we are going to the quark level now. Now, quarks were first discovered, they say these are the smallest. Then now quarks are being, you say, deeper. There are so many types of quarks, up quark, down quark, color quark. How are you going to, if you have a piece of cake and 10 people are sharing, one small piece of cake, maybe you can share with 10 people, but can you share it with 100 people? One small piece of cake, keep cutting it. I mean, it will become infinite. It's not possible to make infinite pieces of something which is finite. But who knows, 20 years down the line, we'll have levels below the quark levels also. How can it be possible? Then this is the beautiful Abhanga. Abhanga means that which will not be destroyed. This Abhanga of Tukaram gives a beautiful explanation. Subtler than the subtlest and still wider than the skies. It's breaking our theory of dimensions. But this is that's talking about another realm then. Maybe this is a fourth dimension. Who knows? We'll have to understand it. But this is what happens for the yogi. He gets connected with that consciousness and the action begins. It's almost automatic because it's happening in a flow. And in that flow, he transcends the Vedas, he transcends the Upanishads also. The Shabda Brahma Ati Vartate. Transcending does not mean discarding. Transcending means evolving and is able to understand. If Shastra says you have to do sadhana, tapasya, one tapa was said to be 12 years. Yogis used to spend 12 years doing a particular tapa, ghor tapa. But in Kali Yuga, sometimes 12 minutes also can help. Who knows? The rule can be broken. Why? Why do we have to wait for 12 years for realization if you can get it in 12 months? This is what Damliji says. If you can get the same thing in 12 months, if you can get the same thing in 12 weeks, there's no hard and fast rule. Guidelines are there. But the spirit is something which is beyond all of it. That's what Krishna is talking about. This Shabda Brahmati Vartate. And then again, it is Abhyasa everywhere. Krishna tells about the same thing by efforts. Without efforts, nothing can be got. Without sacrifice, no pain, no gain, something like that. You have to take the efforts. That is why Arjuna must not run away from the battle. He has to do his work. He has to take the efforts. Sometimes the battle is not your favorite thing. And no, most of the times it is not something. Imagine fighting your own loved ones. But how many of us have to fight our loved ones in our life? Yes. Many of us do, isn't it? Sri Aurobindo had written in Savitri, his enemies are the ones he came to save. There's a rumor that that line of his also was removed by somebody. How is that? Well, this is a nature, the human nature. This human nature is something which is going to create. So here we are all going to have our own battles, but we cannot run away. We'll have to take efforts. That's what Krishna is saying. So Yoga Brashta, stop worrying about it before the battle. It's like a student getting into college and saying which company I'll get placed on day one. Take efforts, get good grades. The atmosphere will help you. You will definitely get placed if your works are you're done in a right manner. But efforts have to be taken. Gain the knowledge. That is more important. Who knows, tomorrow you might start your own company. You don't have to just worry about that. At this moment, it is like that. And the beauty of Sanatana Dharma is each and every individual can become the originator of a particular pantha by realization. You can start your own yoga marga because so many margas are there, but efforts have to be taken to realize it. Prayatnat yatamanastu yogi sanshuddha kilvishaha aneka janma sansiddhas tato yati param gatim. Krishna says, but by concerted efforts and sincerity in action, the seeker of union gravitates slowly towards perfection. Over a period of many births, he becomes sinless and purified, and with the knowledge highest, his endeavors are justified. Who knows how much time it will take, but with efforts, with sincere efforts, this yogi, he goes towards the divine. And what happens when the yogi goes towards the divine? It reflects in the actions. The actions don't remain ordinary actions. They are divine actions, as close to perfection as possible. And over many births, over several births, it becomes justified, his efforts. These efforts are fulfilled, as how Ma Shabri had been told by her guru. Protect your body, old lady. Sri Rama will come. So every day she just dreamt of that one day. When will Sri Rama, my Sri Rama will come? I'll take care of my health. I'll take care of everything. I will offer him this. The Shraddha was there, her efforts were sincere and they were regular, continuously. And then when she sees, he says, Sapalam Guru Bhashitam. Finally, the words of my Guru has come true. What I have carried so close in my heart, I am seeing them manifest. And that joy of watching a manifestation is unbelievable. And that was what Shabri got it. This is what happens. The knowledge comes, is what Krishna says, and the endeavors are justified. The Kala is an important factor. It comes at the time it has to. It cannot be before, it cannot be later. Best example we can see is the farmer, and especially those who are cultivating even especially the bamboo plant. Anybody knows about it? The bamboo plant, how it grows? Yes. Initially, it looks like there's no growth only. On the surface, you don't see. Means first year is gone, second year is gone. Hey, what is it? Where are my efforts going? They're all going waste. But no, Krishna has told, isn't it? Nothing goes waste on the marga. When you are doing concerted efforts, you won't become yoga vrashta. Imagine just because I don't see something on the outside, the farmer stops. The plant will not grow. So somehow farmers are also yogis in a way. So they keep dedicatedly working, toiling, physical, shrama, continuously. And then suddenly there is exponential growth. People get surprised. How did this grow? For first, this much time, there was no growth visible at all. The same example of Giri, a Shishya of Adi Shankaracharya. So many people said he is not smart enough. He is not going to, realize anything, or it will take a lot of time. There are so many great Shishyas who have already achieved so many things. So he was actually overshadowed by the brilliant Shishyas. Not that he was not brilliant, but so many, and he was also so sincere in his effort. He would go and ask the elder Shishyas also, when will I get Buddhi? When will it come to me? He would say, it will come, don't worry. One day, a satsanga was going to take place, some pravachan of the Guru was going to take place, and all would come sincerely to listen. So they were just waiting for Giri because Giri was out running an errand. Then that one Shishya cheekily said this. He said, why do we need to wait for him? Anyway, it is not going to make much of a difference. Whether he comes or no, it's like sir ke upar jayega or something like that, indication, a reference of in a teasing manner. But the Guru said, no, he will come. And probably Guru Krupa happened at that particular moment where he concentrated on his Shishya. The Shishya who was away suddenly got the inspiration. What inspiration he got that he came running that my Guru has called me. And he came, fell at the feet of Shankaracharya and then began this, what is called a Totakashtakam. In Sanskrit, Totaka meter is considered to be a difficult meter. And this Guru suddenly, this Shishya suddenly starts reciting Stuti of his Guru in Totaka meter, his own composition, the one who had never done before. By the grace of the Guru, suddenly he has started. And later on, his name becomes Totakacharya. He also becomes Matadipati afterward. The same person who was not capable. So, this aspect of grace is always there, but for that, it has to be coupled with efforts. It is said, Mukam karoti vachalam, panghum langhayate girim, yat kripat maham vande paramananda madhava. The dumb can start speaking eloquently. The person who is limp also can start walking and climbing the great mountain also. When the Kripa is there. And Krishna is saying that grace, for receiving the grace, it has to be concerted, it has to be coupled with sincerity in efforts and actions. And that's what Krishna is saying here. And the efforts are also justified with the what we call sakshatkara, realization. It is possible. Krishna goes on. Tapasvi bhyo adhiko yogi ज्ञानीभ्यो मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. Krishna is telling Arjuna, Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. That is why Arjuna become the yogi. This yogi who is greater than the greatest of tapasvi. This yogi who is greater than the greatest of jnani. This yogi who is greater than the greatest of karma yogis also. Become that is what Krishna is saying. Means, see, compared, like, if you see, sometimes people do remarkable works and we feel, how can I ever do it, isn't it? Alright, this person has achieved so much at this in this such a short time. Where will I reach? If I reach 10% of this also, I feel I will be dhanya if this happens. We feel overwhelmed sometimes. Sometimes we get overwhelmed with the like works, we get overwhelmed with knowledge also. Okay, oh no, I will never realize this. So much knowledge is there in everybody, and only in me it is not there. This will not happen to me. It's not like that, Krishna is saying. Not greater than the greatest tapasvi, greater than even the ghor tapasya. Some people spend years and years doing some tapasya and then they get the Teja Bala. You feel, where will I receive it? Well, Krishna says, no. Beautiful. You can all, it is accessible to everybody. Do not remove yourself just because of your personal disappointment or personal desires. Here he says, in comparison to the firm ascetic, he is greater. Amongst men of knowledge and works too, he is better. He who practices yoga integrally is most superior to me. And so, a yogi is what? Oh, Arjuna, I ask you to be. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. What is Arjuna going to do after this? Is he going to start Arjun yoga classes in Kurukshetra? Krishna is asking him to become yogi and do what after that? Anybody? He's saying, become the greatest yogi. And what will he have to do? Anybody?
He has to fight now. He is
He has to
encouraging
fight. So he is to be a yogi warrior, isn't it? Because that is his kshetra. So a yogi can be a yogi while in war also, isn't it, Rameshji? What do you think?
Yes, sir, that is what I feel. That is what I
Yes.
feel.
Yes, sir. Okay, so Rameshji says that. Same way, can a yogi be a yogi who is cooking?
An expert cook, maybe.
Yes, expert cook Ma Annapurna's presence is there, felt by everybody who is eating only, because this person has united with the divine. When a person is talking, Namleji says this word always, Shabda tumhara ho sanjivana. When you are connected with the high consciousness, your word only will become the Sanjivani. Sanjivani, like the mantra or like the herb Sanjivani, which will again revive the consciousness of a person. Your actions, every action, as one more beautiful word is there in Shadi Shankaracharya's Shiva Manas Puja, there's a beautiful line. Yad yad karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Every karma that I'm doing is become an aradhana, O Shambhu. My nidra has become samadhi sthiti, my state of oneness with you. So this aspect of integrating is very important. And Krishna is asking the same thing from everyone. Stop compartmentalizing your life in every place you're making a bhed. Instead, become one with the divine. No all actions. Krishna goes on. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaraatmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. The secret of becoming this supreme yogi, who is greater than the greatest tapasvi, is mentioned here. Greater than the greatest karma yogi, greater than the greatest of intellectuals. Example of Hanuman also, isn't it? Buddhimatam varishtam, greater than the greatest of Buddhimans also. What was his secret? It is mentioned here in this shloka. I just read it out as one simple word, which is simple to hear, but sometimes not so simple to fully practice. Maybe I'll read it out once more if anybody can recollect it. Even before I finish, you can. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. What is the magic word or what is the secret word which takes, yes, Chaitanyaji, yes,
Shraddha, yeah.
Shraddha, yes, Shraddha mayoya purushaha Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Shraddha is going to give you this, Shraddha will give you knowledge, Shraddha will help you raise in consciousness. That is exactly what Krishna is saying here. He says, he whose inner self to me has been consecrated, for me an infinite faith and love, he has accommodated. Amongst all yogis who hold the divine dear, he is in union with me, and to me he is most near. Such a yogi whose love for the divine is as infinite as the divine only. It's comparable to the vastness of the divine. That is the Shraddha of that Bhakta. And what is a Bhakta itself means? Bhakta is one who is connected with the divine, isn't it? Who is a Bhakta? Who has ended the separation, who has broken the vibhakti. That person can only experience the bhakti. And what is bhakti? It is being one, isn't it? And isn't yoga also one? Yoga means being one. So ultimately, it is that oneness he has realized, and the simple way of understanding oneness is love. And that love is one. Even the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram says that the love is one emotion, one singular emotion that can catalyze our evolution also. One emotion in human beings. If I begin to feel a universal love, what's going to happen? Dvesha will disappear, is it? From my heart at least. Maybe not from the world. At least I will not hate the wrongdoer. It does not mean I will tolerate every wrong action, but at least the hatred will not rise inside of my heart. Arjuna should also learn to not hate Duryodhana right now. Then he will be in yoga, otherwise he will not. And Shraddha, when you are having this Shraddha which is firm, everything else, Krishna is saying, this person has fully surrendered to me. In his heart, there is love for me. Such a person, he says, is most near to me. We'll go into the seventh shloka, seventh adhyaya, we'll just start with the first shloka, first few shlokas, and then we'll stop. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Sakta, Manaha Partha, Yogam Yunjana, Madashrayaha, Asanshayam Samagram Mam, Yatha Gnasasi, Tachshrunu. Shri Krishna said, continuing from what he said last, he says, O Arjuna, with the consciousness fully absorbed, when in me a firm foundation is resolved, your every doubt will be answered and cleared, and the undiluted knowledge from me you will hear. Arjuna had said, isn't it? My every single doubt must be cleared. Krishna says, yes, it will be cleared. Your questions will be answered. When? When your consciousness is firmly absorbed, its foundation is so strong into the divine. He says, you will receive, and you will receive that undiluted knowledge. My question is, did Arjuna subscribe for an exclusive membership in Krishna's path? Premium membership only for Arjuna. So these words are only useful for Arjuna because he got that package. Or it is for everybody, for all of us also. This promise that Krishna is saying, your all doubts will be cleared. Every question will be answered when your foundation is firm, founded firmly. Anybody? Is this exclusive one-time offer for Arjuna, or is it an offer for every one of us also? That he says, from me you will receive the knowledge directly. Sakshat, Sakshat Yogeshwara Krishna. From him, the Lord of Yoga, you will learn Yoga, the meaning of it. My question is this. Is it a package for Arjuna or is it for all of us also? Anybody?
All of us.
All of us, isn't it? Absolutely. And this is the aspect. Means when you become conscious, when you realize, doubts disappear. Many times questions also on the initial path, there are so many questions on the speaker's mind. This, that, this, I have this question, I have that question. Suddenly the questions start turning into silence. Quietude, understanding. The questions also cease. Sometimes they start respecting the answers they don't have also. So this question is there, but it's okay. When the time will come, I'll receive the answer at the Kala. Right now, I'm understanding that. Well, that is a path as one person goes ahead. Arjuna has given us the best SOP. Ask as many questions as you want. We have to seek. My question, I used to ask so many questions. I still continue asking to my guru and I keep getting some answers. But I know there will be a time when maybe these questions will stop. When they have to let them stop. But this aspect, Krishna says the foundation is important. If your foundation is in Shraddha, it is something. It is like an Atal foundation. It is a foundation that will not shake. It is a foundation that will not move at all. Will remain firm. He goes on further. He says, Jnanam teham savijnanamidam vakshamya yasheshataha yagnatva neha bhuyonyad gnatavyam avashishyate. That science of union, to you I shall explain. That which by engaging in yoga one can attain. That undiluted knowledge, after which doubts won't persist. That knowledge, beyond which nothing does exist. So Krishna says, I'll share that knowledge to you. This is this is the pure, undiluted knowledge. Previously also we saw a shloka, isn't it? Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram na vidyate. Knowledge is so beautiful, so powerful that it can burn. Bhasmasat kurute Arjuna burns even karma bandhanas. Suddenly, so many years of hatred which a person is having in his heart, which is governing all the actions of that person's life, suddenly disappear in a moment of realization. Well, that is the power of knowledge. It can transform. We saw Ratnakar becoming the great Rishi, isn't it? Maharshi Valmiki. How was this transformation possible? When that knowledge comes, and Krishna says, I shall part that knowledge to you. He goes on further. Manushyanam sahastreshu kaschidyadyati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Among the thousands of men who seek perfection and the many thousands who strive in this aspiration, the self-realization by hardly one is one, and my entire truth is known to only that rarest one. The Krishna is saying, among so many thousands that are seeking that moksha, they are seeking that oneness. And among those thousands, also only some thousands strive and go ahead in the aspiration. But the realization, or what we call sakshatkar, happens only to one. And the one who gets the sakshatkar only understands me. He understands my working. My question is, what is this, Krishna? We have so many entrance exams, such high cutoffs everywhere. We've already, every time a new controversy comes, every time an exam is there. Now on Adhyatmik Marg also high cutoff, only 1 in 1,000. Is this a problem in the system? Of Yoga Marga also there is a problem? Or is it more of the individual? What is the reason this people are not reaching that? Why is only 1 in 1,000 realizing? Anybody? Can we blame Krishna for it? You must give opportunity to everybody, like in communistic philosophy. Everyone must get realization. Everybody. Well, that is nice. But Krishna is making it only possible for one. So he should be brought to court or something for this discrimination that he's doing. Is that Krishna's fault here, or what is the crux of this shloka? Hi. Yes, Dr. Suraji. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can say it a little bit of Krishna's action only.
What's that? You can say?
We can say that it's a little bit play with the Krishna.
Okay, it's a play of Krishna. He is playing, he should be, and you're playing with lives. You shouldn't do that. Krishna should be held responsible. Anybody else?
He
Anybody
shows
else?
again and
Yes, sir.
again opportunity,
Ah,
but
yeah.
fail to take it.
All right, all right. So Dr. Suraj ji says this is another game of Krishna. He's trapping everybody in Maya. Anybody else?
So maybe it means whoever wants to attain that, only he can attain
Yes,
it.
yes,
Maybe
yes,
the
yes.
meaning is that.
Yes, many sometimes want, but they're not able to go ahead. Other wants come in between, isn't it? This is more important. So, Sakshatkar and all, no, that's not required right now. I want my plate to be full at this moment. Sakshatkar will come afterwards. Why do I need to worry about that? Many say, no, even about Bhagavad Gita, it is said. There's a beautiful bhajan. One of the participants of the previous batch had sung it in our one kirtan session. It's sung by a sant about Bhagavad Gita only. How for this divine name, when he was a child, he was a too what we can say excited child. So the child never had the time to call the divine name or connect with the scripture. And when he was young, he was having a lot of energy that time. So that time he was too busy to call the divine or to connect with the divine. Then afterwards he got married. Then he got so busy in married life that he could not call the divine. Then afterwards, as he had children and children have grown, then that time also he got a little too busy because he had to look after now a bigger family. Though he was now physically not involved in all those activities, but mentally also, but too busy to call the divine. And when he was in the last moment also, He's like, I'm too weak to call the divine now. So the entire life is gone without, with the person has been too busy to call the divine. Why? Well, this is moha. Moha of the Srishti. So the path is always open for everybody. Krishna is in the Gita says anybody at any place and any time can seek the divine and call the divine and calls are answered. But the problem is call is not being made. You have been given a phone. You can make a call, but that does not mean the phone will call automatically, isn't it? You have to do that. You have to take the phone and dial the number and you'll be able to talk to someone at that time. But if you don't do it, it has no use. It's something like that. The opportunity is for all. Maybe all 1,000 also. That could be the Satyayug's dawn, isn't it? When all 1,000 people, all 1,000 who are seeking, get realization. What a beautiful world it will be. But this is the aspect. The call, the mother also says the same thing of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. He says, rare is the one who hears the call. It's rare is the one who hears the call. And the call is there for everybody. But no, I was busy. I was listening to something else. Not this, not this. So among the rare ones who have heard the call also, there is one more like second line. Rare is the one who hears the call. Rarer is the one who pays heed to it. Chalo, I heard it. Next step after hearing it, no, not now. This is not the time. That happens. So that is the entire thing. It's not something like another entrance exam. This is actually a free marga. It's not even like an exam. It's actually the right. It's like the park is open. The invitation is there. Sri Aurobindo had written his beautiful poem called Invitation. Who will come with me is what he's asking in that poem. A great world awaits. He's willing to show it, but how many will take is the question. So it's something like that. The marg is open. Krishna says, when you realize, when you walk on this path, when you get the realization, or when you receive that knowledge, your doubts will disappear. And he says, he is there to guide us. And this is the experience of a Shishya, that Guru Tattva is universal. We can receive, we can learn. It is depending on our aspiration completely. Ekalavya learned from a guru who didn't want to teach him, no? Yes or no? His guru didn't want to teach him. He made a statue of his guru and learned it. He became the best student of his. How is it? What is it? It is the aspiration of the Shishya. When there is aspiration, the grace flows. Krishna says, I'm there to give it to you. Seek is what he's saying. So with this, let us conclude. If somebody can draw a summary, we'll conclude with a Shanti Mantra. We've just started the 7th Adhyaya of the Gita. Stopped at shloka number 3. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, Chief. Chaitanya. Yes, sir.
Shri Krishna started with answering the question that Arjuna had posed, that what happens to a person who starts following this path but doesn't reach the destination. So he said, there is no regression on this path. I mean, even in next birth, you will resume from where you have left in the in last birth. So, and if if you, once you have made the progression, probably you will be born in house of some pure being, or if you are very lucky, in house of yogi, where the atmosphere is very conducive to progression. This does not mean that those who are not born in such an atmosphere will not be able to progress. As you said, they may have to take more efforts, and that may also benefit them, making them stronger. So it is also possible that it is even possible for them to progress. But just to answer the question, that if your person starts progressing, that is not lost just because this life has ended. You continue in the next life from where you had left last. And this is because of the purvabhyas, or what we have said, the virtue of purvabhyas, that it starts from where it was left. So we saw about some artists and some people who maybe in very early age have a lot of siddhi, we can say that, because of the efforts that they had taken in the previous birth. And that was one of the examples. And over the period of time, such people get purified, their works become divine works, and eventually they reach their destination. And those who do their work with full shraddha and a complete surrendering to divine, and with love for the whole world and divine, Shri Krishna says, such person is dearer to me. So he assures Arjuna that any doubts you have will be resolved, and the only thing is that foundation has to be firm and focused. So that is important. And he also says that many people try to follow this path. They start doing things, but only one of them actually reaches the end goal, because not because I don't want to reach them, but because of the moha and everything, that the way Prakriti is, they are not actually able to get out of those things and see the complete truth, or attain the realization. So it is not that Shri Krishna is preventing them. It is just that they are not able to break through these things and reach the realization. So I think that is where we stop.
Ji, absolutely, Chaitanya ji. Thank you for the beautiful sermon. Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. After which, if anybody has any questions, you are welcome. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Vande Jagat Guru. Hari Om. Thank you. Looking forward tomorrow. Yes, ji. Hari Om. Any
Om, sir.
queries? Yes, ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You were just telling some time back that about the Shastras and the Vaishnava interpretation. Could you please clarify a bit more in that?
Yes, sir. So I do not want to comment on any Marga or anybody's, but what happens is some people, I'm not talking about the entire Vaishnava group, but sometimes, because Krishna is talking about transcending Shastra, but he's not belittling the Shastras, isn't it?
Yeah.
But many people say, no, see, because there's a beautiful shloka which will later on come in the Gita, which says, even if you offer a particular leaf, it is sufficient for the divine. This itself is offered. Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, it is said. Fruit, flower, seed, all of it. Some people, you know what they do. Krishna has also told, na buddhi bhedam, isn't it? Don't go creating divides in people's mind. Unless asked, don't say. All these things Krishna has beautifully explained. But that they don't follow. And they try to go and see somebody has a particular shraddha on a particular deva. That is the aradhya for that person, isn't it? Can you go and say you are having a lower god?
No.
Your god is inferior. That is a very wrong statement to make completely.
Okay.
And this is your shastra is useless. What will happen to such a person? It will anger the person, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Somebody says, no, this is useless. This cannot be done. That is what should be avoided. Some people do. That is what I said. But I'm not generalizing any particular cult or any particular moment. Because what happens is then it creates a divide. And that is the biggest problem in Bharata, because we have so many margas.
Correct.
And everybody has the right to feel their marga is best also, isn't it?
Yes.
My mother is best. Right. That is my Shraddha. Can I say my mother is better than your mother? That is creating a divide, isn't it?
That's right.
That is all I meant to say, sir. Not about the marga as such. Just about some people who are creating and furthering divide. They're all what we can say furthering a wrong intention without their knowledge also sometimes. That is what Maya, Moha, attachment, creating divide. There are forces at play in the world, cosmic level also. So they are unknown to them. They are prone to destructive forces and creating divide in people. That should not be done, because yoga is union.
Yeah.
All margas are one. That realization should come. That is what the aim is. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, sir. Hari Om. Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.